Hello, I thought I would do a garden update. As you see, I've got some tomatoes ripening, but and of course the chickens are free ranged. As you see, folks, there's a acorn squash. I have like 4 or 5 of them growing, and there's another one. And there's Odie, and there's Dakota. Sunflowers I got them in late, so. And as you see, this cherry tomato is doing pretty well, and I have beans around the base. And then my zucchini, folks, I have like 6 or 7 on. And then more tomatoes. Lettuce, I got it in late, so. But I'll show you the biggest zucchini that we have. I don't know if you can see it down there, but she's down there, and then there's a couple other ones around it. So we have zucchini coming on, which is a good thing. Mowed the lawn today, so yes, my back is killing me. Um, Mowed most of the acre by push. I have an electric 14-inch base. My beans, they did okay, but nothing to write home about. More tomatoes. These plants here, folks, I got from the greenhouse late June, early July, and they had stopped watering them, and we're just going to let them die. So I took a couple. As you see, folks, I have cucumbers. Then there's another baby one right there. Nothing great, but not bad for container gardening. And then tomatoes, look at the size of that baby. That's sandwich material there. My lettuce didn't do real well. Rethinking how I'm going to do this next year. But here's my cherry tomato, folks. Look at this. It goes all the way up to the trestle of the front porch. That is almost halfway across the front porch. And folks, she's loaded down. Look at all of them. Look at all those cherry tomatoes. Look at them all. They're just everywhere. And yes, folks, we even have some ripe. I'm trying to get a good screenshot of them. There they are. But you can see she's loaded heavy. This thing is about 10 foot tall. If I didn't train it to go across the front porch, it would be 10 foot tall. Easy. And yes, she is a beast. Look at all these. Even more cherry tomatoes just hanging out. More, and there's a ripe one back there. Dakota's trying to get in the shot. Hi, Dakota. More cherry tomatoes. And then here's another squash plant. I just threw seeds there to see what she would do. And hey, she took off. But it goes, and I threw cherry tomatoes over there, and they took off too. That thing's loaded. Just started ripening the other day. Come on, Odie. But yeah, this is the same squash plant, folks. And you can see that there's a squash actually right there. That is a female flower. Once it gets pollinated, it will turn into a squash. I planted acorn purposely because this little girl loves acorn squash, don't you, Dakota? You like your squash. You like squash? Huh? She wants to go in, but we're not going inside. It's nice. They've been cooped up. When I mow, they stay outside. Get her, Odie. Get her. He wants to play, Dakota. Get him. Get him. Get him. Get him. Don't let him do that. Get him. Hi, May May. Are you a daddy girl? Dakota, Odie, come here. Go get her. Odie, go get her. Go. Go potty. Odie, go. Go get her. Go get your Dakota. Go get your sister. Stop being a pet. No. No, Odie. No, Odie. Odie. Go get Dakota. Yeah, it was about 80 degrees. Um, my mower is a electric mower. So it took me about 2 hours to get what I got done. I still have to mow outside the fence and a little bit of the backyard, but after that, it'll be done. But I pushed the limits today. My knees are killing me. My back's killing me. So I'm going to take it easy for the rest of today. Update. I decided not to get the Aussie that was blind and deaf. The reason being is I would have loved to got her, but I didn't want to cheat Odie and Dakota of their time that I give to them. And yes, they are very much loved and spoiled. I mean, just look at that boy. He is a spoiled boy. And then Dakota is spoiled as well. Are you a spoiled puppy, Odie? Odie, come. And yes, there goes some of our heavy traffic down our road. I think that's the first truck I've seen in about 40 minutes. First car I've seen in about 40 minutes. Oh, when I was mowing the lawn today, it was kind of interesting. I seen about, I don't know, it had to be 12, 15 tractors, all decked out, cleaned, and looked like they were going to some show or something. And then one of the tractors towards the end actually had a camper attached to it. It was kind of cool to see, especially down these back roads. But I didn't have my phone on me, and I would have totally missed it if I would have went to get my phone. So we're just sitting here doing nothing tonight. The garden is starting to produce. I do have some squash on. I have about 7 zucchinis over here. But when I look outside my door, that's what I see, folks. If you've not been on my channel before, I am out in the country on a dirt road in the deep woods. Talked to the mailman today. She said that the other day when she was on the route about a mile from my house, she actually seen a couple of black bear. Which is no surprise because the Michigan Department of Natural Resources have dropped off 4 black bears cubs. They have to be a year old from the release, over on the state land. State land's about 3 miles down the road. In my area, there are a ton of deer. Less than a half mile from my house, there's a field that they kind of just migrate to at night. And there were over 100 folks, 100 whitetail Michigan deer, Michigan whitetail deer, should I say, to be proper. But we're just outside. I did have a couple folks today stop by and look at my truck, or my Blazer, should I say. I am selling my 2001 Chevy Blazer. And the guy's going to think it over and give me a bid tomorrow. Yesterday we didn't do too much. It was the holiday, and I hope everyone had a nice holiday. And if you're not in the United States, I hope you had a great Monday. Let's see, the next holiday for here in the States will be October 31st, which is Halloween. But you see how nice and peaceful it is? What you hear is what you hear out here. Just listen to that. And at night, it's the same thing. You don't hear people fighting. You don't hear sirens. You don't hear people honking the horns, cussing, swearing. It's just nice and peaceful out here. And yes, winter's coming, and it's supposed to be a bad one this year. So I will be getting a snowblower. Oh, there was an owl. You never know what you're going to hear out here. Yes, out here you see everything. Michigan white-tailed deer, owls, foxes, raccoons. I stopped for a minute so you could hear the owl. I do have a hummingbird that comes into my yard every day. I didn't see her today, but she normally stops right over here by the tomato plants. And you would think out here in the country I would have a problem with mice. I've only seen one. And that's because he was in a trap. I do put out mice bait, mouse bait, whatever you're going to call it. And where that is in an area that chickens can't get near it or can't get to it. And the dogs can't. And folks, just because I'm not going to adopt the dog that has special needs doesn't mean I'm not going to adopt. I just got to find the right one. And I think I've located one. I'm waiting for a reply currently. I'm not going to tell you what kind. But all I have to say is if I pull the trigger on it, y'all are going to be like, wow, that's a nice looking dog or a pup. as you see, there's not many clouds in the sky. It's kind of a nice, quiet evening. Trying to decide what I want for dinner. Do I have a chicken taco or do I make homemade fries? This weekend I did make some chili, but I finished that, so yeah, I've been doing a lot of reflecting this last few days, folks. If y'all don't know, 20 years ago was Hurricane Katrina. Hard to believe that was 20 years ago. Now, folks, if you don't know, I am a retired, or yeah, you could say retired, over the road truck driver. Meaning I serviced all lower 48 and Canada. The company I worked for did not send me to Mexico, but I would have had no problem. The nearest they got was El Laredo, which they had a drop and hook yard down there. They also had a, not terminal to say, they had more of like a bunkhouse where they had like a break room where you could go in and make food and sit there and eat and watch TV. They had a pool table. They had wash machines that were free. They had showers. They had. When I drove semi, I drove a KW 2000, 18 speed. That's where you have your splitter button underneath your shifter. Um, that was the truck I was assigned when I first went to work and got my truck. My truck was located in Dayton, Ohio. Now, granted, I had just got my CDL out of Michigan and took Greyhound all the way to Dallas. Well, after about 4 months in Dallas, or 3.5, somewhere in there, I was called to the safety department. They said, "Hey, we got your truck, but you're going to be going by Greyhound to recover it. Um, it's in Dayton, Ohio." Now, mind you, it took me 2.5 days to get there from Detroit to Dallas because the company I used to work for would send you by bus. Fly sometimes depends on what's needed and how fast. Well, I jump on the Greyhound in Dallas, Texas. 2 days later, I arrive in Dayton, Ohio. I get off the bus at 3:35. I call a cab. The cab arrived at 4:35ish, maybe an hour later after I got off the bus. I had to go to a Kentworth dealer approximately 30 miles away. Well, he got me there at like 3 minutes to 5. I walk in and they're already getting the place ready to lock up because they closed at 5. I said, hey, I'm from this company. I'm here to pick up my truck. And I showed them all the documentation. And they're like, man, you're going to have to come back tomorrow because we're out of here in about 2 minutes. Well, I said, dude, I have no place to go. I mean, this Kentworth dealer was out a little ways from the hotels and everything. I was like, I just got dropped off by the taxi. And luckily, one of the assistant managers said, y'all go home. I will get him in a truck and I'll lock everything up. Well, he finally released the truck to me. I pulled it off the yard. And as I was pulling off the yard, he was in his car right behind me and he got out and locked that truck or locked the gate. And then I drove to the Flying J, the Flying Hook for you truck drivers, in Beaver Dam, Ohio. Well, if you don't know it, the most dangerous truck on the road is called a bobtail. That is just the truck, not the trailer. And so I drove about 70 miles bobtailing because the company said, you're out of hours, you got to get some sleep, plus we don't have a trailer yet. So I drove to the Flying Hook, went in, took a shower, ate. I actually went across the street and got a decent meal. Didn't eat at a truck stop. Folks, try not to eat at truck stops. Some of them are pretty nasty. So I went back to my truck, started putting my stuff away, making my bed, got my sleeping bag out, realized I forgot my pillow. Luckily, there was a Walmart down the street about 7 miles. So I drove down to Walmart. Of course, safety calls me, why are you driving? And I said, I forgot my pillow, I got to go get a pillow. So I went in and got my pillow, and then I picked up some groceries. It was a good thing I did. Because underneath your bunks in your semis, there's tons of storage. So I got some food, I got some junk food, I got some soda, I got a couple things of water. And the things I was buying is just like some chips, some snack cakes, um, tuna fish. So at this point, I didn't have a slow cooker. A couple months later, I finally bought a slow cooker where, not a big one, it was just one that you plugged in the cigarette lighter there, maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3 quarts, not very big. And it was perfect because we're going into winter, so I was making chili. Well, I had put it all in there before I left in the morning, plugged it in, and I tell you what, I had some of the best smelling truck. I had a good smelling truck for the time that was cooking, and by lunchtime, that was piping hot, ready to eat. Then I would have it again for dinner. And you're probably wondering how I got the meat for it. Well, I would go to a town, and sometimes I would treat myself to like raw fork or a buffet type style where they might have steak on the menu. So I took a pint size resealable bag new one every time. And I would get some steak and I would cut it up and I would take enough where I had more than enough meat. And that would be for chili. And sometimes I would even start it when I went to bed. But like I said, nothing much has been happening. But I wanted to update you guys on the blind Australian Shepherd who is deaf as well. That would have been too much work. I could have done it. Part of me is kicking myself for not doing it, but I wanted to make sure Odie and Dakota has the attention that they're used to from me. And folks, I'm with these two dogs almost 24/7. They have a fit if I go to the store. They have a fit if I go to the Artesian Well. The Artesian Well, folks, is only 2.5 miles down the road. I'm gone maybe 20 minutes. But when I come home, you would think I was gone months because they attack me as soon as I walk in the door. Yes, these two dogs are very much spoiled. And don't get me wrong, folks, they're my best friends. They're my kids. I look out for these dogs. One, as their owner and master. Two is they're my kids. They're my family, folks. Oh, the neighbor's bringing out his camper for some reason. I'll be right back.